Hi guys, Richard Blaine here. Thanks for stopping by my Easy Cooking channel and Easy Cooking blog tonight. Tonight I thought I'd make an Italian dish. I haven't done anything Italian in a while and I thought I would share one with you. Back when I was a kid, when I was about 16 years old, and that was a long time ago, and I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, but it was a long time ago. I worked at this really posh Italian restaurant in LA County called Stromboli. Stromboli was owned by a guy named Frank Mele from northern Italy. He was a nice guy. Back when I was 16, that restaurant had already been open for about 40 years. And it was a local hangout, and it was one of the classy Italian restaurants in LA County. Anyway, what I liked about it so much was the fact that we were all family. And it was one of the great employment experiences of my entire life. I would go to work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and myself and the rest of the crew, we would work till midnight, 1 a.m. in the morning, and we'd clean up and do our chores and get everything ready for the next day. And then Mr. Mele and his son Dan and the other cook staff would go into the kitchen and cook us all dinner. We'd go into the back room, into a large round table in the back dining room, and we'd all sit down like family. We'd all sit down like family and break bread together and have pizza and pasta dishes. It didn't matter whether you were white, didn't matter whether you were black, didn't matter whether you were Mexican. We all sat down in that establishment like one large family and had a good time. We laughed, we cried, we joked, we bitched, we moaned, we drank wine, we ate, and then we closed it up and cleaned it all up and went home until the next day. It was one of the best employment experiences of my life. One of the dishes we had was a particular pasta dish that I have never seen in any other Italian restaurant, in all the Italian restaurants I've ever been in. I mean, usually you go to an Italian restaurant and you have your pasta aglio, your linguine with clams, your pasta alfredo, your carbonara, your pomodoro, your lobster fra diavolo, you have lasagna, you have baked ziti, you have baked manicotti, okay? But one of the dishes that I've never seen in any other Italian restaurant except for Mr. Mele's was a dish called pasta al salmon affumicato, pasta with smoked salmon. I've never seen it anyplace else. So I decided that tonight I'm going to make you pasta al salmon affumicato just for you. From Mr. Mele and Stromboli to me, from me to you, let's get going. As usual with YouTube, 15 minutes, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, here comes the easy part. Cooking the pasta. We're not going to waste much time with this. This dish calls for penne rigate. You could use any pasta you want, but traditionally this dish calls for penne rigate. So I'm cooking 1 pound of penne rigate, okay, in very well salted water, okay. Now, once this pasta cooks, I'm going to drain it and I'm going to put it back in this pot with a little bit of olive oil to keep the pasta from sticking to each other, because the more important part of this recipe is making the sauce, okay. The pasta is the easy part. The sauce for pasta al salmone affumicato, that's the more complex part. Okay, the pasta's done. It's nice and al dente. I'm going to drain it, and then we're going to make the sauce. Hold on tight. Be right back. Okay, here we go. We're going to make the sauce for pasta al salmone affumicato, the more important part of this dish. The pasta was the easy part. So the first thing we're going to do, butter. We're going to melt some butter in the pan. Okay. This is a delicious sauce. Get that butter to melt. Okay, so once the butter's in the pan, we're going to put some onions in there. You can use shallot, you could use red onion, white onion, you can use anything you want, but I like using onion. If you happen to hear my bird squawking in the background, that's okay. I have to put them in the other room, okay, so that I can make this. So we're going to saute the onions. Then to that, we're going to add garlic. You could add as much garlic as you'd like. You just have to remember that in many recipes, garlic is a note and not a food group. But a lot of people add excessive amounts of garlic, and it overtakes the taste of anything and everything. Like I said, garlic is a note and not a food group. Now, once you have the onions and the garlic softened up, you add the secret ingredient, smoked salmon. There we go. Mix that in with the garlic and the onions really well. The garlic and the onions will impart their flavor to the salmon, and the smoked salmon will impart its flavor to the garlic and onions. Delish. Oh, God. It just smells so good. Okay. This is a very quick sauce. It's a very delicious sauce. Now, here comes the secret ingredient. Traditionally, when people make pasta al salmone affumicado, they use vodka as the spirit for this sauce. But I feel that vodka doesn't add really any redeeming qualities. Depending on where you are in Italy, they use vodka, they use whiskey, or they use brandy. I don't care for vodka because it doesn't impart any indicative flavors. So I like to use whiskey because whiskey will impart a nice smoky, nice sweet flavor. So I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Jason over at the Simple Cooking channel, because Jason happens to like Elijah Craig whiskey. That's a bourbon whiskey from Haven Hill, and it's quite delicious, and I happen to like it myself. So I'm giving a shout out to my buddy Jason. I'm going to use Elijah Craig whiskey to add the smoky sweet flavor to this sauce. And you want to add it slowly because you don't want it to flame up on you. This is not a flambe. Alright, there we go. Now, you want to cook this down. You want to cook the alcohol out of the sauce because you don't want the flavor of the alcohol. You want the flavor of the oak barrel from the whiskey. So you saute this for about a minute, maybe two, and it'll cook the alcohol out. Okay? And to this, while it's cooking, pinch of salt, pinch of salt, and a little pinch of black pepper. Not too much. Depends on your flavor requirements. And you mix that together. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of heavy cream. There we go. And we're going to reduce the heat to a medium. And then we're going to add a little bit of clam juice. There we go. For that seafood flavor. The clam juice complements the smoked salmon. the smoky sweetness of the whiskey complements the smoked salmon. And I'm going to raise the heat a little bit to bring it to a medium simmer. And to that, I'm going to add some tomato sauce. There we go. There we go. Now I'll raise the heat just a little bit because everything's been incorporated. So I don't have to worry about anything curdling at this point. It's all been incorporated. I just want to reduce it to a particular thickness. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this sauce into the pot with the pasta and cook it. And the pasta is going to absorb it. Okay, so here's the cooked pasta. It's coated in a little olive oil to prevent it from sticking. I'm going to break it up a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to take the sauce and I'm going to pour it into the pot with the pasta. Alright. Now, this is what I call a dry sauce. And why do I call it a dry sauce? Because it's not a big soupy sauce that sits on top of the pasta like spaghetti and meatballs. This is a sauce that you allow the pasta to absorb the liquid. So, you spill the sauce into the pot, you turn on the heat to medium, and you stir it. And you make sure all this pasta gets coated in the sauce. And you'll end up stirring this for about 3 to 5 minutes. And the rigate will soak up the liquid and soak up the flavor of this sauce. And that's what I'm going to do here. Okay. The smoked salmon sauce has been absorbed by the pasta, and I'm just about ready to plate it. And then I put the last ingredient in, capers. Capers complement the flavor of smoked salmon. Smoked salmon complements the flavor of capers. I'm going to plate this and I'll be right back. Hold on. There you have it, guys. Pasta al salmon affumicado. Pasta with smoked salmon. Right now I'm going to add a little peperoncino. The red pepper flake. Give it a little heat. I actually like a lot of pepper flake. So I'm going to add a lot of pepper flake. And if you so desire, you could add some pecorino romano, asiago, parmigiano reggiano, grana padano, any kind of cheese you want. I wouldn't add too much because the cheese could actually end up overpowering the flavor of the dish. I'm not going to add too much, just a little around the edges. Pecorino romano, e peperoncino, and there it is. Pasta al salmon affumicado. Pasta with smoked salmon. I hope you try this recipe. I know you enjoy it. Hey guys, I'm Richard Blaine. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope you try this recipe. Pasta al salmon affumicado. I know that Mr. Melee would really appreciate it. It's a classic dish. It's really tasty. I want to thank you for stopping by. I'll see you on my next video. Take care.